Hi, I'm Tiffany, and this is Towering TBR. All right, welcome to week 3. I have 2 prompts left to get done for my career of Archmage. That is Alchemy, a medal in the title, and the one that is on your highest shelf, which for me, I'm going to be reading Monster Volume 3. So I picked up and very quickly DNF'd Breakfast at Tiffany's. I only read 28 pages, but this is filled with derogatory slurs to Japanese people and lesbians, at least in the first few pages. Yeah, I did not care about Holly Golightly, and I didn't feel like the story was worth reading. So quickly DNF'd that. And I am picking up Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Because I DNF'd The Picture of Dorian Gray, which was in week 1, I'll link both weeks down in the description below. Because I DNF'd that classic, I wanted to fit in another classic so that I could still reach my goal of 12 classics in a year. So I've picked up Great Expectations, and I've read the first 2 chapters. We're following this boy called Pip, and he is currently been accosted by an escaped convict and is asked to steal food and tools from his sister and brother-in-law. And that's all that's happened so far, but they don't treat Pip very well. So I'm definitely going to continue to mood read, and I'll pick up whatever I'm in the mood for, although I am going to be picking up Monster this week, and probably some more comics. So welcome, I'm glad you're here. Definitely get a snack. I started on Great Expectations, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't actually know how many pages I'm into because I have a Kindle copy of both A Tale of Two Cities and Great Expectations, so I'm not exactly sure where I'm at. But it starts out, and we're following this child, Pip, and he's in a cemetery. And he gets kind of accosted by like an escaped prisoner who asks him to steal tools and food from his guardian, his sister, and his brother-in-law who are raising him. And his sister is absolutely horrible to him. She's an adult and he's a child, and she's just awful. But anyways, he asks the question about what people were put in the hulks for. She says, people were put in the hulks because they murder and because they rob and forge and do all sorts of bad. And they always begin by asking questions. Now you get along to bed. I was never allowed a candle to light me to bed. And as I went upstairs in the dark with my head tingling from Mrs. Joe's thimble, having played a tambourine upon it, to accompany her last words, I felt fearfully sensible of the great convenience that the hulks were handy for me. I was clearly on my way there. I had begun by asking questions, and now I was going to rob Mrs. Joe. Mrs. Joe is what the sister is referred to. She is married to a man named Joe, but we don't ever get her name, or we haven't yet, and that's a bit irksome. I really do like the way Charles Dickens writes, but I did note very early on that it is really obvious he got paid by the word because he's overly descriptive in some cases. So here's the example of him just being very, very overly descriptive. A man who had been soaked in water and smothered in mud and lamed by stones and cut by flints and stung by nettles and torn by briars, who limped and shivered and glared and growled, and whose teeth chattered in his head as he seized me up by the chin. I'm just like, yes, that is super duper wordy. So I have read the first 9 chapters. I fully expect to take this week and next week to finish it. Not only because it's lengthy, but because I'm reading other things as well. But I'm enjoying it quite a lot so far. We've just been introduced to the character of Miss Havisham, and yeah, I haven't really formed an opinion about her yet, but I do find her a bit odd. So anyway, the other book I am currently reading is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I was really reluctant to pick this up because a lot of people say it's very confusing. You go in knowing pretty much nothing and nothing's explained. And yeah, I don't really like to be confused when I read. So I was really, really reluctant to pick it up. And I will say I am at 80% of the book, like nearly done now. And I still don't exactly know what's going on, but I'm very intrigued. So we're following this man, and they answer by the name of Piranesi. And there is one other living person in this world or house or whatever it is, and he's called the Other. And then there are bones of what he thinks of as the only other people to have lived in the house. And we know that that isn't quite right, and yeah, but the house is really strange and confusing, and yeah, like I said, I still don't know really what's going on, but I'm very intrigued, and I'm hoping this last 20% will pay off. At one point in a flashback, there was a person who wanted to go back to their old house to perform an hour-long ritual, and was surprised when he wasn't allowed to. And yeah, this is just I don't know, but there's a lot of whimsy and a lot of intrigue, and I guess we'll just see. There have been references to like mental illness and madness, and yeah, I don't know where that's going exactly, but it has really high reviews, so hopefully good. I wanted to share some non-bookish news, book-adjacent news. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you know that I really liked Lonely Castle in the Mirror.
I like it a lot.
By Mizuki Sujimura. And it was adapted into an anime movie in Japan back in December. And I have been eagerly awaiting news for an English version to be released in North America. And I just found out that a North American company got rights, and they're going to produce the English subtitled, and it's supposed to be released in summer this year. So I'm really, really excited about it. I saw the trailer, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. So in thinking about what I'm going to read to fulfill alchemy metal in the title, this is the hardest challenge for me for some reason. I think I'm probably going to pick up the play Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. It's not very long, only about 4.5 hours on audiobook, and is a modern classic play that I don't know anything about. And apparently it's queer, or there's queer representation. I'm not exactly sure. So I'm really thinking that that's what I'll pick up next week for that challenge. I've yet to pick up my monster manga yet, but that will also be on the docket this week.
How we feeling out there tonight? Yeah, I am not feeling good.
Hey, so it is day 21. I have been having a lot of poor health days, so I'm going to be combining weeks 3 and 4 and putting that out at the end of the month. I still have 2 prompts left to complete to earn the Archmage career. The metal in the title is oddly specific, but I have found at least 10 books that would work for it. Unfortunately, I don't want to read any of these books. I think I might be going into a book slump. It does happen when my health is worse. So I was looking through my library's catalog and was trying to find anything that would qualify for metal in the title. And I found Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. It's a play, and it's a fairly short audiobook, only about 4.5 hours. And I thought, I can push through. I I can get through it and I can earn this prompt. Is that on my TBR? No. So I started to think, is it really a valuable experience to read and not enjoy that reading just so I can complete something? Does anybody else do this? They put like intense pressure on themselves to succeed at things that have no long-term consequences.
Shit, no, man.
Like if I fail this month, who cares? Like I'll be able to do it again and nobody's going to bar me for not passing the first one. So I've decided I am not going to just bare knuckle through and read for the sake of succeeding. I'm going to read for enjoyment and escapism. So that is what I'm going to do. That means I will likely fail this challenge. And I've been doing this readathon for about 6 years, and this is the first time that I'm not going to complete it. So I don't like that, but I feel like I give booktubers who are having a hard time, I give them a lot of grace, and I just need to extend that to myself as well. So what I have been in the mood for is comics. I went to the library and got all of these comics just because that's the mood I'm in and that's what I wanted to read. I scrounged a bunch of like best of lists, and so I don't even know what half of them are about, but I know that somebody liked them. So I will probably be picking those up. For my second prompt, it was to read Monster, which was on my highest shelf. Most of the books on my highest shelf I had already read, and so I didn't have a whole lot of choice. I just had a few manga up there. So part of me was like, if I'm going to fail, I'm not going to make myself read this book either. I would like to read it when I'm in the right mood, so that may happen. As far as continuing Great Expectations, this is going to be like a soft DNF. I love Dickens' writing. He is so descriptive and his characters are so vividly drawn, but I think I'm in a more plot-heavy mood, and Dickens is just not right for me right now.
Too wordy.
So I am not going to force myself to read it. It's not for school or anything, but I will continue whenever I get back in the right mood. I have finished Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I was thinking the whole time that this was about a 4-star book. 80% in, I still didn't really know what was going on. And you find out in that last 20%. And I was disappointed with the ending. I felt very underwhelmed. As I was reading and as I got more information, I kept guessing what kinds of explanations would make sense. And I'd actually kind of guessed the ending partially and thought it was kind of too boring.
Boring.
I don't know why I thought it would like really surprise me. I went into this with like sky high expectations, and so I think that probably made the book suffer a little as well. So I've decided to give it 3.5 stars because of the ending, but I still recommend it. I still think it's good. I still enjoyed it and would recommend it to some people, but I had heard nothing but rave reviews, and so I hate to be, well, I think it was good, but I wish the ending had been more creative. If you've read Piranesi, let me know what you thought of the ending. I don't know if I'm in the minority here or not. Obviously, try not to give spoilers away in the comments. I'd be eager to know. I wanted to mention I bought a new lamp. It changes color, and it is really fun. I've been looking to kind of change up the scenery a little bit. I did pick up On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, and I read the first chapter. But the themes were a lot heavier than I realized, and it really wasn't hooking me. I think I was doing it a disservice trying to pick it up now, so I am also going to soft DNF that and pick it up at a time that suits my mood better. I don't really know what I'm going to pick up next, but I'll let you know when I do. Hey, so it is day 24. I have picked up Babylon's Ashes, the 6th Expanse book. I mentioned that I was feeling a bit slumpy, and so typically when I feel slumpy, I usually reread things. But I have so many unread books on my shelves that I sometimes feel like rereading is like a waste of my time, even though it's not. But this kind of was the best of both worlds. It is a book I have not read yet, but I know about most of the characters. I know about the world. I don't have to basically invest myself in a new place or setting. That this feels familiar, but it is still new to me. I have not read it yet. So I'm about 125 pages in. The major events that happened in book 5 are now still playing out in book 6. And we're getting to see some really sweet, tender moments, and we're also getting to see some real challenges for some specific characters. I'm sorry, like, I can't give away spoilers. It's the 6th in a series, so I'm really enjoying it. I will say I had a slight irritation with the narrator because he pronounced Gimbals Jimbles.
You're not talk that way.
That's just a tiny grievance. I really am enjoying this and plan to continue. They're usually about 500 to 600 pages. Let's see, how long is this one? Oh yeah, just a little over 540. So yeah, I will keep reading this. I have picked up and finished Witch Hat Atelier Volume 2. I mentioned that the first one ended on a cliffhanger, and I was really eager to pick it back up. So this jumps in with plot right away. We get a chase scene with a dragon, and we get to learn more about the different magics and different magical artifacts, which I thought were really fun. Coco is the newest apprentice, and she is really struggling with learning magic. And she says, whenever I decide it's time to really buckle down and study, I suddenly feel so tired. And yeah, girl, same here. Except for replace study with do anything. Oops. So I really enjoyed this. This one also ended on a cliffhanger, so lucky me, I have the 3rd one already out from the library, and we'll hopefully pick it up really soon. I just really like this story. It's so cozy and fun. Not cozy in that it's like low stakes, but it's just wholesome, and I'm really enjoying like the friendship and the magic learning. I intend to continue with Babylon's Ashes, and I'm hoping to pick up some other books as well, so I will let you know when I have more to update. So it's day 27. I have finished Babylon's Ashes, the 6th book in the Expanse series. This was just go, 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 go the entire time. It was incredibly fast-paced, and I was really on the edge of my seat, and the ending was disappointing to me. They kind of waved a magic wand, and then things were fine, and that's not exactly it, but like that's how it felt. And I think this is where the show ends, is after book 6, and maybe they wanted to, tidy up a lot of loose ends, but I was kind of hoping for a better ending. Still, I gave it 4 stars. It was highly enjoyable, and I will be carrying on with the series probably very soon. I went to the library this morning because a bunch of my holds all became available pretty much all at the same time. And so I will just show you my little haul. So I picked up The Wager by David Grann. I'm really excited about this, and I've already managed to fit it on my TBR for May. I got Hang the Moon by Jeanette Walls. Yes, Jeanette Walls. And I really liked her memoir, The Glass Castle, that I read, I think 6 years ago maybe. I really enjoyed her memoir, and this is a historical fiction book set during Prohibition times, and it is following the story of a rum runner, which sounds really interesting, so I'm glad I got to pick this one up as well. Then, a book that you wouldn't think I'd want to pick up, Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is a romance. I've read one romance that Emily Henry wrote, which was Book Lovers, and I only gave that 3 stars. But the premise of this one sounded more interesting. It's about this group of friends, and within the group of friends is this married couple, and they seem perfect for each other. But they've actually been separated for a while, and they are going to sell their summer place, and so they decide to have like one last vacation with their friends, and they decide they're going to pretend that they're still together, but it'll be around their best friends who know them so well. And so I think it just sounds like an interesting premise, and I'm really hoping I like it, especially because I've been wanting something happy lately. And then In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune. This is a science fiction
Damn it! Who typed a question mark on the teleprompter?
Pinocchio retelling that involves robots. So I'm really excited. T.J. Klune is one of my favorite authors. I think I've read like 7 of his books so far. So this will be book number 8. But I just thought it's how it works, right? Like, you put in a bunch of books and they all come at the same time. I mentioned earlier that I picked up a ton of comics the last time I was at the library. And I've decided that I don't really know what they're about, and I don't know which one I want to pick up first. So I'm going to do like a try a chapter. I'm going to pick like a handful of my books and read the first chapter or thereabouts. If they don't have chapters, just, the first segment. And then I'll come back to you, give you my thoughts on it, and show you some of the art. And then hopefully whatever interests me the most is what I'll keep going with. I'm hoping that I want to continue with a lot of them, but we'll see. So the first that I'm going to pick up, I actually don't have in physical form. I have on my tablet. And it's called Squire, and it's by Nadia Shamas. And I will come back to you after I've read the first chapter. Okay, so I just finished chapter 1. I'm now reached chapter 2 on Squire, and I'll give you my thoughts, and I'll insert some pictures. So this story looks to be following a girl between the ages of 12 and 17 who lives in what looks like a Middle Eastern country, and she really feels left out because for whatever reason her group of people are not allowed citizenship. So she wants to join the Knights because through the Knights there is a path towards citizenship, and she just wants to go out, wants to adventure. And the first chapter is talking about her trying to convince her parents, and they don't want her to go, but they decide that they're going to let her go because she belongs to an Ornu people. They have tattoos, and so they instruct her to make sure to cover up her tattoos when she enlists, because it's implied that she will be treated less than because of her race. So that was the first chapter. I'm intrigued to know more. So yeah, that was pretty good. I'm going to pick up another one, and I'll come back to you with my thoughts on that one. Okay, so I have read the first chapter of Zeta the Space Girl by Ben Hatke. This is super cute art. And so basically, Zeta and this boy Joseph are like just messing around, and they come to a giant crater in the earth. There's a really funny line that says, "It looks like a meteoroid. I thought that kind of thing always burned up in the atmosphere. The dinosaurs thought that too." Burn! So anyways, in the crater, there is a big red button, and she decides to press the button, and in doing so, opens this tear in reality, and Joseph gets pulled through. And she is pretty traumatized, but then she decides to press the button again and go through the rift herself, presumably to save Joseph. It was really cute and interesting, and I want to read more. So definitely think I will be picking this one up to read completely. But I'm going to try a few more comics. I picked up Walk Me to the Corner by Amelia Fermark. This is translated by Hannah Stromberg. So this is about a woman, and she meets another woman, and she can't stop thinking about her. And both of the women are married, but they start this texting relationship, and they're clearly interested in each other, and decide to meet up and start having an affair. And that's where I stopped. I'm not finding the art really beautiful, and I'm not feeling the story is very compelling yet. So I think that this is going to be one that I probably return to the library. This doesn't seem to interest me currently. The next one I am reading is MFK by Nyla Magruder. So I will come back to you when I have read that. Okay, so I've read the first chapter. This is following some characters, and they're in the middle of a sandstorm, and some people get injured and some other people help out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the art is really pretty, and I'm a little bit curious to keep reading, but nowhere near as hooked as I was with Zeta Space Girl. So probably not going to continue this right now, but we'll see. And I'm going to do one last option, which is Pashmina by Nidhi Chanani. And this was on a list of best middle grade graphic novels, so let's see what I think of it. Okay, I have read, they didn't really have chapter markers, so I read about 19 pages of Pashmina. This is following an Indian American teenager. She has a lot of questions about her heritage and why her mother left India and who her father is. And she's really just searching to connect to these stories and learn why her family came over from India. And it looks really good, but she is a teenager and she is quite angsty. So maybe won't pick this one up just yet, but I can see why it won awards because it pulled me in immediately. I'm gonna continue on with Zeta the Space Girl, and I will tell you how I like it once I've done reading it. This try chapter was pretty fun. I kind of find starting books to be the hardest part, but with graphic novels, it wasn't difficult at all. So I'm gonna read this, and I will update you when I can. Okay, today is day 30. This is the last day of the vlog, and I have 2 more books to talk to you about. I finished Zeta the Space Girl by Ben Hatke. This was absolutely adorable. It starts off with Zeta and Thomas, these 2 friends messing around, and they come across a crater that has a giant big red button in it. And Zeta decides to press the big red button. It tears a space in reality, opens a wormhole, and an unknown creature kidnaps Thomas and takes him back through. And Zeta is obviously devastated, but bravely decides to push the button again and dive in to save her friend Thomas. There are all sorts of creatures and aliens and robots, and the art style is silly and playful and fun. I just thought that this was fast-paced and really interesting, and highly enjoyable. It was just an utter joy to read. This does end on a cliffhanger, though, but that actually made me really happy to find out that this is a trilogy, so there are 2 more books that I can follow Zeta and her adventures. So I will definitely do that. I gave this 4.5 stars. Just super fun. And lastly, I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. I guess I got the premise a little bit wrong when I mentioned it. The couple doesn't own the summer house. This is a summer house that is owned by a relative of one of the friends, and they are selling it. And so this is their last hurrah. So they do end up pretending that they're still dating. And it's really hard on Harriet, the woman in this couple, because she doesn't even understand why they broke up exactly. And this book alternates between the past and the present. I really liked when Wynne and Harriet met each other. I thought that they had really fun and playful banter. Upon their first meeting, she says, "You don't look like a Wyndham Connor." His brow arches. "How am I supposed to look?" "I don't know," I say. "Navy blue jacket with gold buttons, a captain's hat, a big white beard, and a huge cigar?" "So, Santa on a yacht," he says. "Mr. Monopoly on vacation," I say. "For what it's worth, you're not a stereotypical image of Harry Kilpatrick either." "I know," I say. "I'm not a Dickensian street orphan in a newsboy's hat." And I loved their banter together. They were obviously very sarcastic and witty and always had like quippy lines. I'll share one other one. They are obviously attracted to each other, but they are basically trying not to act on it because they are 2 members of this really strong group of 6. And she says, wait, you don't date your friends? Who do you date, Wynne? Enemies? Strangers? Malevolent spirits who died in your apartment building?" And I just thought that that was really funny. So I liked this couple together. And in the past scenarios, they got along really well. And so you're kind of trying to piece along, why did they break up? And that's where I kind of struggled with this, because this group of 6 are incredibly tight-knit friends. They've lived together for years. And neither of the couple, not Wyndham and not Harriet, neither of them told their friends when they broke up, which seems kind of unbelievable. And additionally, like, she is so mad that he dumped her and she doesn't even know why. So it's really difficult for her to put on an act and pretend that they're still in love when she's so hurt. I didn't really believe that they could fake it around their friends. I thought their friends would definitely notice. And the other thing is, a lot of the conflict between them relied on miscommunication, no communication, or just assuming that they know what the partner wants. And that felt contrived. They had real issues, real conflict that they could have explored more. And it was more like, oh, they're both having stressful stuff, so they just basically shut down and don't communicate. And so that's a personal pet peeve for me. If it doesn't bother you, then I would not have any reservations recommending this. It felt unbelievable. Still, there was so many good things for this book going for it. These 6 characters, even though this is primarily a romance book, we get a really good look at their friendships, and these 2 are not the only ones who are keeping a secret. So I found that the characters were really well-rounded and believable, and I liked them. And I liked most of the story. It's just when she would rely on miscommunication or no communication as the primary problem, that's where I don't like it. But I still gave this 3.5 stars. It was still enjoyable, and I would still recommend it to anybody who thinks that it still sounds good. So, this was a 2-week vlog because I was not feeling well. I read 5 books in this vlog. I read Witch Hat Atelier, Volume 2. I read Babylon's Ashes by James S.A. Corey, Piranesi by Susanna Clark, and I read these two as well, Zeta the Space Girl and Happy Place. So I feel like that was a pretty good couple of weeks. I did not achieve my goal of Archmage, and that's okay. I'm still going to go for it in August. All right, so that's it. Tell me, how did your April go? Tell me what was your favorite or least favorite that you read. Let's have a chat down in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.